ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 23, entitled The Dynasties of the Sons of Yayati, text 15 onwards. Text 15. Arabdaha tasya gandharaha arabdastasya gandharas tasya dharmaha tataha dritaha tasya dharmastato dritaha dritasya durmadaha tasmat dritasya durmadastasmat prachetaha prachetasaha shatam pracheta prachetasa shatam arabdastasya gandharas tasya dharmastato dritaha dritasya durmadastasmat pracheta prachetasa shatam arabdastasya gandharas tasya dharmastato dritaha dritasya durmadastasmat pracheta prachetasa shatam. Arabda was the son of Setu. Tasya, of him. Arabda. Gandharaha, a son named Gandhara. Tasya, of him. Gandhara. Dharmaha, a son known as Dharma. Tataha, from him. Dharma. Dritaha, a son named Drita. Dritasya, of Drita. Durmadaha, a son named Durmada. Tasmat, from him. Durmada. Prachetaha, a son named Pracheta. Prachetasaha, of Pracheta. Shatam, there were 100 sons. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhecharana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The son of Setu was Arabdha. Arabdha's son was Gandhara, and Gandhara's son was Dharma. Dharma's son was Drita. Drita's son was Durmada, and Durmada's son was Pracheta, who had 100 sons. Can you repeat the translation? The son of Setu was Arabdha. Arabda's son was Gandhara, and Gandhara's son was Dharma. Dharma's son was Drita. Drita's son was Durmada. And Durmada's son was Pracheta, who had 100 sons. Text 16. I will read the translations. The Prachetas, the sons of Pracheta, occupied the northern side of India, which was devoid of Vedic civilization, and became kings there. Yayati's second son was Turvasu. The son of Turvasu was Vahni. The son of Vahni, Bharga. The son of Bharga, Bhanuman. Text 17. The son of Bhanuman was Tribhanu, and his son was the magnanimous Karandama. Karandama's son was Maruta, who had no sons, and who therefore adopted a son of the Puru dynasty, Maharaja Dushmanta, as his own. Texts 18 and 19. Maharaja Dushmanta, desiring to occupy the throne, returned to his original dynasty, the Puru dynasty, even though he had accepted Maruta as his father. O Maharaja Parikshit, let me now describe the dynasty of Yadu, the eldest son of Maharaja Yayati. This description is supremely pious and it vanquishes the reactions of sinful activities in human society. Simply by hearing this description, one is freed from all sinful reactions. Texts 20 and 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the Supersoul in the hearts of all living entities, descended in his original form as a human being in the dynasty or family of Yadu. Yadu had 4 sons named Sahasrajit, Kroshta, Nala, and Ripu. Of these 4, the eldest Sahasrajit had a son named Shatajit, who had 3 sons named Mahahaya, Renuhaya, and Haihaya. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, Vadanti tattva vidastatvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shamdyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. The majority of transcendentalists understand only the impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma, for the personality of Godhead is very difficult to understand. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 7.3, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatpataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. The yogis and jnanis, that is, the mystic yogis and the impersonalists, can understand the absolute truth as impersonal or localized. But although such realized souls are above ordinary human beings, they cannot understand how the supreme absolute truth can be a person. Therefore, it is said that out of many siddhas, the souls who have already realized the absolute truth, one may understand Krishna who exactly one may understand Krishna who exactly resembles a human being, Narakriti. This human form was explained by Krishna himself after he manifested the Virat Rupa. The Virat Rupa is not the original form of the Lord. The Lord's original form is Dvibhuja Shyama Sundara, Muralidhara, the Lord with 2 hands, playing a flute, Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam. The Lord's forms are proof of his inconceivable qualities. Although the Lord maintains innumerable universes within the period of his breath, he is dressed with a form exactly like that of a human being. That does not mean, however, that he is a human being. This is his original form, but because he looks like a human being, those with a poor fund of knowledge consider him as ordinary man. The Lord says, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. Bhagavad Gita 9.11. By the Lord's Param Bhavam or transcendental nature, He is the all pervading Paramatma living in the core of the hearts of all living entities. Yet, He looks like a human being. Mayavadi philosophy says that the Lord is originally impersonal but assumes a human form and many other forms when He descends. Actually, however, He is originally like a human being and the impersonal Brahman consists of the rays of His body. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanta Koti. Thus ends the Bhaktivinoda purport and translations to Canto 9, Chapter 23 texts 14 to 21. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here is a continuation of the description of the dynasty of Maharaja Yayati. So continuing the description, Shukadeva Goswami addressing Parikshit Maharaj is saying, Karna had only one son by name Vrishasena. So this Karna is the same son who was the first eldest son of Mother Kunti even before Yudhishthira Maharaj, who's generally known to be the eldest son of Kunti Devi. But that was after her marriage with Pandu. But before her marriage with Pandu, she had given birth to Karna through the sun god Surya. Although her virginity was still protected by a mystical process of giving birth to Karna. Because Surya Deva did not contact Kunti physically, by his mystic power he had given a child to Mother Kunti. So these processes are unknown to the modern man because they lack mystic powers. And they have no idea of what is mystic power. They have no idea of what is inconceivable potency. Everything in this creation has got mystic power, inconceivable potency or Shakti, everything. There are millions of things like that. But because in our modern system of exposure, we are not trained to see those inconceivable potencies, we deny when such descriptions are described in the Vedic literatures. The modern education is such that we believe only what we observe, what our five senses can grasp, what our intellectual brain can comprehend, what our analytical brain can analyze, what our logical brain can arrive at. If it is not within our logic, within our analytical power, within our intelligence, within our experience, within our exposure, within our observation, then we deny. Therefore, we have no opportunity to gain higher knowledge. We are limited to only gross knowledge. That also what fits into our understanding and observation. This is the defect of our present system of experience and knowledge. When we can't comprehend or see things, we should gain knowledge through people who have experienced higher things in life. Actually, we follow that system, although we deny that when it is presented in the Vedic literature. It is not that everything you understand and then you accept. Not necessarily. Even in modern educational system, it is not that everything I understand, I have analyzed, I have researched, and therefore I'm accepting. Not necessarily. You are accepting many things from authority, from experience of higher persons. Just like when we were, if you had been a science student particularly, in the 10th standard, in the 11th and 12th standard, and even in the degree, we have labs and we study a lot of experiments. In every science field and engineering field, we have a lab. So for sample, we may do some 10 experiments, some 15 experiments in the lab. And we may even, some tests also will be there. Only 1 or 2 tests. Of the 10, 15 which you actually did yourself, for the exam, it's only 1 or 2 which you will do. But there may be about 40, 50, 60 experiments also in the text. So many times, I remember during my days when I asked my teacher, sir, what about the other experiments we're not doing? So one answer he gave is lack of time. Another answer he gave is there is no infrastructure to actually do these experiments now. Another explanation is presently you will not be able to comprehend those experiments. As a sample, we have taught you this many things. This much is enough for you for now. So it is not that all the 50 experiments I have to do, then only I will believe, I will accept. No, a sample is being done. So we deduce, therefore, the other experiments also is possible. And earlier it is being done. Not that I have to redo once again to believe, to accept. That's a wrong logic. Like that, nobody can pass the degree. In the medical texts, there'll be hundreds of operations and hundreds of, bodily parts being explained. Of course, sometimes they take to the post-mortem ward and then they show the parts. But it's functioning, you only have to accept, because when in functioning you are living, you cannot cut open and show. Only a dead body you can cut open and show the parts, but it's functioning, how it is, it's networking, all these things you really can't actually see. But you accept, okay, this is how it is functioning inside. The child growing in the mother's womb for the 9-month period, you can only accept. You cannot actually see. At least today, of course, because of radiology and some sonology, all these sonography things, some things have come. Some sensing is there by some sounds, by some images. They detect, okay, this means this means this, this means this. They deduce. But not that you're actually seeing in the mother's womb what's going on. But you accept. This is called deduction. We're deducing. This means this image means this image means this. We accept authority. So like that, it is not that everything, if I have to learn, I have to observe everything myself, understand everything myself, experience everything myself, do the experiment myself right now. That's not the way of learning. We have never done that. 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Why? 2 into 2 equal to 4. Why? Now to prove that, you have to do PhD in mathematics. You have not even. Sometimes we see in first standard also, there are children who fail, right? And we may laugh at it. 1 plus 1 equal to 2, the child cannot write. That's why the child fail. Looks really silly, right? So when the child's intelligence is so undeveloped that even 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3 also the child could not write, and therefore the child failed. And if that child questions, how is 1 plus 1 equal to 2, and why is 1 plus 2 equal to 3 and 2 plus 2 equal to 4? He cannot deduce. His intelligence is not developed. First of all, for the time being, he has to accept the authority and pass the exam. It's a long way for him to become PhD. Then he will understand how 1 plus 1 equal to 2 and not 3. And 2 into 2 is equal to 4, not 5 or not 3. So you require to develop your mathematical intelligence. So like that you will develop your scientific intelligence, your physics intelligence, your medical intelligence, engineering intelligence. Intelligence is, it has got unlimited branches and divisions. You may develop one particular form of intelligence. Again, not that you will comprehend other part of it. You may be an electrical engineer, but you may be very bad at medicine. You may be a medical student, but you may be very bad in engineering or in accountancy or in statistics. You may be very good in, statistics. So they all will become CAs and, finance graduates. But they may be very bad at something else. So everybody has specific intelligence, specific memory, specific skill. It's not that everything you comprehend, every knowledge you have. So we have to accept authorities and we have to go ahead. So there are so many things in this creation which are mystical, of mystical nature. Actually, everything is mystical. The creation itself is mystical. There's even Bible, Prabhupada always quoted. The Lord said, let there be creation. That's it. Creation is done. So how is it possible? Yes. The Lord has many, many agents. He doesn't have to do anything physically. Parasya Shaktir Vivideva Shruyate. Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyacha. Swabhaviki. The Lord has many, many Shaktis. And they will execute. The Lord only has to desire. Even in this world, I may plan to build a house. But I don't really construct. So I call an engineer, I call an architect, I call a structural engineer. And they will further call the contractors, they will further call the mestris, they will further call the employees. And in maybe 1 year or 5 years or whatever, the house is ready to occupy. I really don't do anything. I just desired to have a house. So when even a human being of this world is able to achieve without physically doing anything, how much must be the Lord of the creation? How much must he be capable? The lime tree produces lemon that has got citric acid. So how is the lime tree producing acid? Citric acid. You see, these are all mystical. You can see the earth is same, but it is producing millions of varieties. That's why it is called Sarva Kama Dugamahi in Bhagavatam. Earth is called Sarva Kama Dugamahi. So fulfiller of all kinds of desires of all beings. The same soil, it is giving rice. The same soil, it is giving vegetables. The same mud is giving even minerals. The same mud or the earth is giving, fruits, herbs, medicines, everything. The same earth is also producing valuable diamonds, gold. See, there's no logic at all. All logic breaks here. How will you logically explain all these things, you tell me? You cannot. So this is called the mystic potency or the inconceivable potency infused by the Lord into the creation. That is why uh, uh, in the Bhagavatam second canto, Shukadeva Goswami, while describing about the process of creation and the different creation of the different elements, constantly he uses one common word, Bhagavat Choditaha. Choditaha. Constantly use this word, Bhagavat Choditaha. That means by the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord. So we have to accept the inconceivable potency of the Lord to understand all these mysteries of creation. Otherwise, it is difficult to proceed, especially the Vedic literatures. Because Vedic literature is subject matter which are presented by superhuman beings, highly, greatly realized souls, not ordinary persons. See, that is the problem here. What is the problem? The problem of our present knowledge and education is that we have gained knowledge from limited persons. Therefore, our knowledge is limited. You have not met a person who has got, inconceivable knowledge of mystic powers. So when you meet that kind of teacher, you get that kind of knowledge. You meet that kind of person, you get that kind of exposure. Depends. You meet a maths teacher, you'll get maths exposure, maths knowledge, maths intricacies. You meet science teacher, you'll get science intricacies. You meet commerce teacher, you meet a chartered accountant, you'll get intricacies of balance sheet, accountancy. It depends on your teacher and how much qualified he is, how much he himself knows. If he is limited, you are limited to that extent. If your teacher is BSc, you can maximum gain knowledge up to BSc. If your teacher is MSc, you can know up to MSc. If your teacher is PhD, you can know in PhD. It depends on your teacher. Unfortunately, in the modern world, the teachers whom we all approach have limited knowledge, limited access to things because they are mostly dabbling in the gross world. But the teachers of Bhagavatam, of the Vedic literatures, are transcendentalists who can see beyond gross creation. They're spiritualists. They're all teachers of the Bhagavatam. They're all God realized souls. They have exposure of even the kingdom of God. What do you speak of God's creation? It's such a small thing. It's only ekapad. So their exposure is actually unlimited. In fact, what they presented is hardly anything. It's only a tip of the iceberg. That itself we're not able to digest here. Everything is bewildering for us. See here. Karna had one son, Vrishasena. Karna's birth itself is mystical, mysterious. Now, then Shukadeva goes to continue to explain about Druhyu, who is the third son of Yayati. And Druhyu had a son named Babru. And the son of Babru was known as Setu. Then it goes on. Down the line, another 3-4 generations. Durmada's son was Pracheta, who had 100 sons. How can one woman have 100 sons? This is another bewildering thing. This is not one case. Many. See here, Pracheta had 100 sons, right? In the previous chapter we saw, that was the dynasty of Bharata. In that dynasty also, there was one of the descendants of Bharata, Bharat Maharaj, whose name was Nipa. We discussed in the previous chapter only, not far. Nipa had 100 sons. Gandhari had 100 sons. So there were so many cases having 100 sons. But it was not a common thing. That is also accepted. It is not a common thing. But they did exist. I was just reading some reference there it is described. In the modern times, the maximum number of children given birth by a woman, it's a record in our modern times, is about 69 children. One woman is given birth to 69 children in the modern. That was in the 17th century. Hmm? Her name is Valentina. Her husband's name is Fyodor Vasilyev. He had 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets. Triplets means 3 children. So 7 times she gave birth to 3 children, 16 times she gave birth to 2 children, and she had 4 times 4 children. This is in the 17th century. Totally, she gave birth overall 27 times. In 27 times, she had 69 children. Now, another defect of the modern man is that, as I said, unless I have observed, I'm not accepting. So this is the modern man recording these things. This is another problem. You're depending only on your experience. You're not depending on another's experience. Only when it comes to Vedic literature. When it comes to science, you're accepting everything fully. Man has gone to the moon. And now Chandrayaan is being released now. Chandrayaan 3. But you're not gone, right? But you only heard in the news. But you're accepting. So I didn't go, but somebody went, no. Somebody is not you, right? Not from your city, your town of Mysore also. But you're accepting on authority. Same thing, you have your authority. The Vedic followers have their authorities. And Prabhupada says one place, in one conversation, analyzing like this to one person. So you have your authority, we have our authority. Now, you also accept many things which you're not party to. You don't have first-hand experience of, but you accept your authority. The first ones to go to the moon was America, then Russia, then China. India will be the fourth if maybe in a week's or 2 weeks time if they land in moon. The Chandrayaan 3 lands on moon. India will be the fourth country in the world to land on moon as per the information. So we are accepting, they're accepting that authority. We have our authorities. Then Prabhupada says the only question remains now, whose authority is more perfect or most perfect? Our authorities are most perfect because till now, even one statement made in the Vedic literature has not been proved wrong or otherwise. There was no Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, all the verses remain same without any amendments also, without any changes, without any research, without any improvement also. But we see our modern system of education, be it mathematics, physics, science, space, medicine, engineering, we always are improving, meaning it was not the perfect. Yeah, and even what we have understood something as something in the course of time changes. Electricity was understood as fluid initially. Today we know, we will laugh at it. Earth was considered liquid. Earth was considered flat, not oval. And one scientist said Earth is oval or round. He was killed actually. They laughed, they mocked. But finally it came to be true after many, many decades. But the Vedic statements never was proved wrong till date. The Vedas give the distance between the sun and the earth as about 93 million miles. The modern science corroborates that fact. They also agree. It's about 93 million minds. Later, many things can be corroborated. If somebody is interested in this particular way of analyzing, comparing, and developing faith in the Vedas. But we have our system. So our authorities have always been perfect and there are no changes till now. So our faith naturally is established. So like that, see, we have this case about this couple. Like that, somebody's recorded it. We get to know. If there's no record, we think it didn't happen, does not exist, cannot be possible. That is not the way. Just like somebody is recorded about this, like that, Shukadeva Goswami and many great sages are recording all these mystical, mysterious things of the cosmos. Not only of this planet, not only of this world, not only of this solar system, this galaxy, this universe, even other universes, even previous creations. To that degree, they have access. They have access. How? Because this is called Guru Parampara system. He is instructed by his Guru. Shukadeva Goswami says, how did he get to know about all these things? He has heard from his father Vyasadeva. How did Vyasadeva get to know? From Narad. Narad from Brahma, Brahma to Lord Krishna. So Krishna is the Sarvagya, all-knowing. So he gives the required knowledge. Required knowledge. Yena mam upayantite. Dada ami buddhi yogam tam. I give the required knowledge by which you can understand me, come to me, become my devotee. So Krishna gives the knowledge. Now, how do you know otherwise? Just like we meet so many people in our preaching daily, that person will say, he has got this property, that hotel is managing editor of this, that. Today Wikipedia has come and all this Google has come. Otherwise, what is it possible to know? He has a business in Paris, business in London, business in Australia. He is telling, I'm accepting. How do I know? He having chain going hotels, one in Mumbai, one in Pune, one in. How do I know sitting here? We're accepting him. He is telling, and there are some people who know information about others also, not only about him. There are some people who are very social. They know lot of things about so many people. They know. There are some people who know about all politicians from 19th century. I met some when I was in Mangalore. Oh my God, he can give history of each politician from 17th, 18th century. He'll start describing. There are persons like that. We not met people like that. So it's our limitation in meeting such kind of people. So like that, the Lord is giving information about everything because He is the creator. And Shukadeva Goswami, they all have, Divya Drishti, Vyasadeva. They're able to see through. That is another dimension of existence anyway. To see through the future, to see through the past. We can only see right in front of me, crossly. This is Kali Yuga situation. Anyway. So this list of kings, as we discussed earlier, only proves that Vedic civilization did exist even millions of years back, thousands of years back. And we don't subscribe to the idea of Darwin's philosophy, which says that only intelligent beings came into the existence on the earth only some few thousand years back. So all these things prove these modern statements to be wrong. How do you account for these things? Otherwise, the existence of the cities, they are all mentioned. When city is there for what? If it is empty. That means there are people. That means there is vegetation. That means there were rulers. That means there was organization, management. Everything exists. The moment you say there's a city, that means there are people. Otherwise, why is the city is built up without the people? If there are people, there is somebody to rule over them. That means there was a king. That means there was a system of administration. So we cannot deny any of these things. The names might have changed. The geographical area might have changed by the because of the Earth's movement, the Earth crust's movement, or because of the movement of the change of the path of rivers. The maps would have changed. They would have reorganized the states and provinces. The names would have been changed. By every government coming, they changed the names. So all these possibilities are there. That doesn't mean that they were all false. For example, here it was discussed in the earlier class. In verse number 6 of the same chapter, Dirgathama had 6 sons. One of them was Kalinga, one of the 6 sons, Anga, Kalinga, like that. So then Shukadeva Goswami goes on to say that Kalinga and all these 6 sons, Kalinga, Anga, all these people, they all had their own provinces to rule, states to rule. And those states and kingdoms were known by the name of their son itself directly. That means Kalinga was one of the sons. So Kalinga, his Desha is called Kalinga Desha, and Kalinga Desha is nothing but Orissa today. So the name might have changed. We know Kanauj, where this Ajamila's story took place. Ajamila took birth in Kanauj. Kanauj, earlier it was called Kanyakubja. It's a town in Kanpur. Even now, if you trace back the earlier, you go to the village office. Actually, you will know these old names. I remember because I was dealing with a lot of lands and this and that, trying to understand this, that and all. So we go to the mother deed. Sometimes I've gone to lands, 17th century, 18th century land, how it has come. It's called the family tree, they write. The places were different, the names were different, so many things. Delhi, here also it is said. You see, in the 21st chapter, see, so much solid proof is there. How can we deny all these things? Gross proofs. Not even mystical power, which I talk about mystical power. These are gross things are there. There's a prejudice in the modern man. He neither accepts mystic power, nor its existence, nor he accepts historical reference. Then what is his position? Then how will he develop faith on the Vedas and Vedic descriptions? So that's his misfortune. See, in last chapter, in text number 20, it is described about New Delhi. Millions of years back it existed. See, there was a king by name Hasti, and he established a city called Hastinapura. New Delhi is a part of Hastinapura. The New Delhi is a part of Hastinapura, which was much more bigger in its geographical area. And there was a king by name Hasti who established, that's why it's called Hastinapura, because it is Hasti's kingdom. That's why it's called Hastinapura, because many times the kingdoms are named after the king. Just like we have the roads named after some XYZ, Devraj Aras Road. So they were even more greater personality. The whole city is named after them, whole kingdom is named after them. So like that. So we cannot disprove any of these existence of these things. Assam originally was called Kamrup. Even before that it was called Pragjotishapura. Even history talks, you can Google and see if you want. Pragjotishapura. That was the capital city of Bhaumasura 5,000 years back. Bhaumasura held captive 16,000 princesses whom Lord Krishna delivered, released. And they requested him to marry. Out of compassion, the Lord married. Otherwise, nobody will marry them. Out of compassion, the Lord married. So that apart. So it was the capital of Bhaumasura. It is a very well historically recorded even by modern man. So how do we deny? And Shukadeva Goswami 5,000 years back, he is explaining all these things. So nothing is mythology, what is explained in the Vedic literatures. In Mysuru, it was Mysore. It was an anglicized this thing when the Britishers took charge. All names were anglicized when the Britishers took charge. So it was otherwise originally Mahishasurapura. Why? Because there was one demon whose capital city was this land. Therefore he named it after his name, Mahishasurapura. So even demons also had capitals and the cities were named after them. And Chamundi had to come to kill him and establish herself on the top of the hill later on. So it's called Mahishasura. So all these references are there, but we fail to see these references. And in the 21st text, here it says, finally, in the Yadu Vamsha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna appeared. And that Yadu is coming the same dynasty of Yayati. And Prabhupada goes on to explain about how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate in the realization of absolute truth. Many spiritualists or transcendentalists may understand Brahman or Paramatma, but even transcendentalists fail to understand Bhagavan. So there is no wonder that people don't accept Krishna, Rama. There's no wonder, because even among transcendentalists, to come to the point of Bhagavan is extremely rare. Hardly, Krishna says, even among those who are, Krishna says, Siddhanam refers to those who are Brahmavadis, Paramatmavadis. Among the Brahmavadis, Paramatmavadis, hardly one knows me in truth. Kaschin mam veti tatvataha. Kaschin, maybe one. Veti tatvata. Veti means to know tatvata in truth. Even among Brahmavadis and Paramatmavadis, not that everybody can realize Krishna. Maybe one among them, maybe that also, not that it is a rule, may know me in truth. At the position of understanding Bhagavan, Krishna, who is a human being, but a transcendental human being. And that is, Prabhupada confirms particularly Shyama Sundara, Dvi Bhuja. See, the word why Dvi Bhuja is used, because to stress the personal aspect of the Lord. He has got two hands. That means not Nirakar. I will say Shyama Sundar. Okay, it's whom does it refer to? Dvi Bhuja. That means having two hands. That means person. Dvibhuja Shyama Sundara. Dvibhuja Murali Dhara. And Murali Dhara, again the name Murali is holding something. Impersonal thing, what is the meaning of holding something? Neither the object exists, nor the person who holds exists. Neither the flute exists, impersonal, nor the person who holds the flute exists. It is Murali Dhara. Dharaha means to hold. So it's so specific, Sanskrit is. So precise it is. So perfect it is. So we cannot miss out. So you require the right explanation from the right acharyas, like Shukadeva Goswami, who are bona fide authorities. We follow in the footsteps, will be benefited. Therefore, the ultimate absolute truth is a person. He is a human being, but a divine, Satchidananda, spiritual human being, ultimate human being. And his name is Shyama Sundara or Muralidhara. Many names are there like that. That's the conclusion. And that Supreme Lord appeared in this dynasty whom we are discussing. Therefore, the description Shukadeva Goswami is taking trouble to explain. And why is he interested in politics? He is not a politician. He is a devotee. Because these are all devotees, great devotees who have been the cause of the Lord's appearance. Shukadeva Goswami is taking the trouble to explain. Stop here. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.